We are live. Welcome to my video. This is going to be my thoughts on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7, Episode 5, A Trout in the Milk. Yeah, so the episode is rated, I'm going to say TV 14, something along those lines. Certainly this video will be. Yeah, like all other videos I've done on the show so far, there will be spoilers for the episode, as well as everything MCU and adjacent leading up to it. Nothing that came out after. And absolutely love this episode. Let's dive right in. So yeah, they did a fantastic job on the 70s as well. Has Hydra appeared in every single season? I was trying to go over the seasons. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it's certainly close to every single season. And yeah, I'm here for it. You know, they are, with good cause, they are like the, you know, for a while, were the main enemy of S.H.I.E.L.D. and those working with S.H.I.E.L.D. in the comics. Let's see. And I've seen several people say, you know, this show actually made Hydra in the MCU more interesting. And I'd have to agree. Yeah, so let's see. I guess I'll just very briefly say, so as usual, the IMDb trivia for the episode is worth reading. Yeah, it includes details about Chastity McBride, and all I'll say is, the moment that I read that Frank Miller co-created that character, I was like, yep, that certainly sounds like him, based on the description given in IMDb trivia. Now, let's see, so I guess the first thing that happens in this episode, yeah, there's the talk about, you know, the clothes and such, and yeah, you know, as usual, they really come through. Oh right, the opening, the intro sequence, yeah. I've watched just enough 1970s like American, like it feels like one of the cop shows. I want to say, what wasn't it, the cop shows that look, maybe other shows in general also, but yeah, American shows around this time had I especially like the Deke one with, you know, him breaking the fourth wall and doing the face and everything. That was great. And apparently his was one of the only parts that had to be reshot. Other than that, they used footage from earlier seasons. Yeah, let's see, yeah, I like that ultimately Sousa just can't bring himself to wear the clothes, and you know, yeah, Daisy's like, well, there's squares in every decade, which, like, yeah, that works. I don't know, and also, if they do keep him around, if he stays around past the 70s episodes, if they do put him in something else, it's gonna be really, really weird to see. So yeah, I trust their judgment a lot, though. So anyway, yeah, elephant pants is a good way to describe bell bottoms. I think that pretty well gets us to the shield, the bar, you know, swordfish. Yeah, you know, not exactly low key, or Odin for that matter. And yeah, you know, they mention, well, you know, we won't have to deal with Freddy anymore because he died 3 years ago, and then there he is. There he is. I can't do the voice properly. For anyone else who watches enough, Adam Johnson, I can never remember to understand that reference. Anyway, because I feel like you probably wouldn't. I doubt I attract many viewers who unironically watch. I don't even remember what it's called. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, moving on. Yes, so right, it was really cool to see what was his name again? Yeah, Rick Stoner. Yeah, with the mustache and Patrick Warburton. Yeah, um, and the yeah, is that little Ricky? Because, yeah, I mean, yeah, he would know him by like that. All those years. Yeah, was it 40 years prior? So yeah. Um, I think that might just about bring us to. So yeah. Yeah, genuinely really clever to have Project Insight happen 40 years ahead of schedule because of the Chronocoms. And yeah, Chastity. It was really great. Her, like, I guess testing out, like, trying to get used to the empathic touch thing, and she gets a new kind of contact high. That was fun. And she's like, okay, I'm drunk. Okay, I'm not. And then she, like, hiccups this, yeah. And yeah, turns out, no one's seen Enoch in a year, which, like, yeah, I mean, Chronocoms are working with Freddy. Freddy frequents or at least goes there sometimes. Dangerous for Enoch to still be there. But yeah, the thing with, Chastity, and sometimes I'm a little torn on how to feel about, because, like, I get the it can make things awkward sometimes. These kind of, the HR, and I appreciate that this was around the time that that sort of training was becoming a thing. So, Rick would be awkward about it. He hasn't gotten used to it yet. He's very, very worried, deeply concerned, and at the same time, like, so this episode is like 2020, and we just had Trump for 4 years. Actually, I guess depending on when exactly it aired, which I'm not gonna look up right now because of the wrist pain, but was Trump possibly still? Wait, crap. Let me think. No, yeah, because the no, yeah, because Trump's first and sadly not last term was 16 to 20, and then Biden. Yeah. So the and even Biden wasn't the best on that. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a kind of liberal joke to make. It's this we're all the way past that. We don't have to worry about that anymore. So let's make a joke about it. But no, like, this is actually in some ways, like, the certain civil rights for women have been rolled back in a very major way in recent years, so this is not the right time to be making a joke like this. Yeah, I don't know. I'm torn because I do appreciate there is, in a lot of ways, not all, the show is progressive. Let's see yeah, really clever with the younger generation of Maliks. And yeah, I mean, we hadn't seen a lot of Gideon as younger before, but it's not surprising that he's, like, it's giving frat bro, he's, I'm not just a Nepo baby. Sure. And here we thought, like, Hollywood people that are Nepo babies were bad news. But and I do also love Daisy's just like, sure, yeah, you're definitely self-made. Can I go now? And Sousa shows up to say, he realizes, oh, this is bad, so he goes up, he's, I'm her fiance. We have to go now, honey. And it just reminds me of the, yeah. It's good that he showed up because she left her blow-up boyfriend on the Zephyr. And the thing with, you're welcome for the beer, by the way. Wow. She didn't ask for it. You brought that over so you thought that you would be able to sleep with her, and then you're like, wow, just like, my time isn't free. You're just an object to me. But her comeback is so perfect. I'll pay you back later. She will. She, it's just explain to me how that's in any way a lie. He might have misunderstood, but that's it. And we get the thing about Nathaniel, who's also still alive, even, so, yeah. He wasn't sacrificed, in this version, he was not sacrificed by Gideon, unwillingly, to the, crap, what was it called again? Yeah, that rock that sends you to the other planet, that we saw in flashback in an earlier episode. But yeah, very clever that, he then gets used as a hostage. And yeah, they hadn't brought a gun, but they found one in the office. I like the thing about, that's the great thing about 70s computers, no firewalls. Yeah, I don't know what that means. And the, let's see, I think that pretty well gets us. Yeah, and the Chronocoms. That was also a great. Who are you again? And IMDb trivia notes. It's a callback to Pachakutik, the Sarge's real name in the season before this. Was very nicely done there. And yeah, like every generation of Gideons, of Maleks. Wow. The Gideons are those people who give the Bible away for free. But yeah, every generation of Maleks appears to like to toy with their prey. Like, he already has them, just, yeah. I don't know if I want Deke to hear that apparently, Phil MD is more memorable than he is, because, like, Freddy didn't remember Deke. Was it 20? Let's go with 20 years later. If you want to argue about the exact number, go yell at my back pain. I'm going to have to speed this thing up. Let's see. But he remembers Phil MD 40 years later? Like, ouch. That is... Yeah, because he didn't see Phil MD. Phil MD was there in the 50s, but, Freddy never came face to face with him. But yeah, really nicely done there. And the thing about, like, obviously the Chronocoms are strong enough that if they wanted to, they could have resisted Freddy, lowering their guns. As far as I could tell, they were just so shocked. It's like, does not compute. What is going on here? Why are we lowering our guns when we have a clear shot at the people we're trying to stop? And they do have a discussion about that. And I appreciate, yeah, they learned from that. Okay, we just gotta... yeah, that's why they took Mac's parents. Let's see. Yeah, so then we have the... yeah, they jump ahead in time, and Suzes, understandably... I understand he's very upset. We've now seen him very upset. But, yeah, Deke standing up for Nana... she's doing her best. That's also, the bit where Simmons is like, I can't deal right now with my grandson, who's roughly my age, telling me that I have to become pregnant with his mother. That's, no, not right now. And the, yeah. Let's see. I think does that pretty well get us to? Yeah. So there's definitely something going on with Simmons. She's forgetting to remember, and she's afraid. Was that there was something, and yeah, Enoch notes, this is unusual. Yeah, looking forward to finding out exactly what happened there. As usual, the show does really well at setting up these mysteries that we desperately want to see the answer to. I think that does bring us to but yeah, the thing about, I gave up my life for this. We all did. You can really understand where everyone here is coming from. Um, yeah. The thing about, now they only have a little bit of time. It's this day of. Could be worse. Could be the day after. Mac really does know how to find, some kind of positive in anything. Let's see, but yeah, they go to. Let's see. So yeah. I liked Sousa saying, I'm with her, at least until a certain point in that show. Not saying when, for anyone who cares. Both of you are welcome for that. But yeah, he's like, I'd rather have to stay in the 70s than be pulled through time without being able to do anything, and he is a character who does not like feeling powerless. So very nicely done on that. Let's see. I think, does that get us? But yeah, they're saying there, and she's hacking, and now there's a firewall, and he's like, I still don't know what that means. And you're gonna need a bigger computer. It's way too small. And she chuckles and shows him how a smartphone works. And the thing about and yeah, his reaction is much like older generations in general. The first time they see one, I say as if I wasn't wowed the first time I had anything even remotely like that in my hands. But yeah, the thing about only old people use it for phone calls. Don't they know how to text? OMG. And yeah, because of the firewall, it takes just a little bit longer. And I like the little bit of, because at one, when she's taking his picture, he's obviously not looking. He's not keeping watch, even though that's, you had one job. Okay, he has many jobs, but that's like the primary one right now. And then he has to go open the box thing, and then suddenly Nathaniel shows up because he didn't appreciate feeling so weak around her, and now he wants her powers, which he saw back in 73. That was also great. Anything else you're not telling me? And then she shows, asked and answered, Your Honor. I'll explain later. And in the post-credit scene, he's like calling for the I forget his name, but yeah, agreed about the Mein Kampf vibes, and yeah, he wants her powers maybe for himself. I could imagine for himself. The Maliks are notoriously selfish. It is also possible it's for someone else, but yeah, it's bad news regardless of who in Hydra ends up with Quake powers if they succeed. Yeah, it was also very nicely done with Mac and Elena going, and the thing about, why do you call me Yo-Yo? Because you always bounce back. Turtle Man can be very sweet. I also like I meant to mention that in my video on that episode, but there was an earlier episode where I think he was the one who said, "Now you're as slow as me." But the not that, yeah, my tone was obviously I'm making a joke. I realize he was being sweet about it, charming. Let's see. He has more charm in a fingernail than I can muster with my entire body, but I accept that. I think, you know, my strengths lie elsewhere. Not in hairline retention, but, you know. Yeah, I think that does pretty well get... Right, yeah. The two of them, you know, yeah, Elena climbs down a ladder, and, I mean, yeah, bring up the fuse box counter, I guess. That's what that looks like. And, you know, behind her as she's climbing down. And someone put the Christmas lights up early. But yeah, and the thing with, you know, have you ever watched a James Bond movie? See? Called it. This is a great, yeah, very Whedon-esque to, like, acknowledge, yeah, this is James, you know, we're doing a James Bond here. But yeah, I liked how there was actually setup and payoff on Mac's parents, because, like, he's looking very intently at the footage from the cells, and, you know, yeah, he spots his parents before we do, and then just, like, stares intently, and at first we think, oh, he's, like, focusing on the mission, but no, he's focusing on his parents. And I do also really like, it wasn't that he wasn't gonna, he had a backup plan, you know, it just wasn't ideal. And yeah, I mean, they gave away their position. I'm thinking the Chronocoms are gonna have a field day with that, you know, because that's what they said, you know, we're gonna take advantage of this weakness. Although it's possible they thought that they would be able to prevent S.H.I.E.L.D. from stopping Hindsight, you know, which is 2020. I know it's called Insight, I'm joking. Yeah, so but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't, like, the Chronocoms don't really need it. If they are able to stop those on the Zephyr, they don't need Insight. They have enough in the Oracle. I think that does pretty well get us to the yeah, very nicely done also on the, you know, love cinematic shorthand. So, you know, May and Phil MD are going into the base, and we just see, like, two people, you know, unconscious on the ground inside the room. They're leaving, no clothes on, and then May and Phil MD walk out in the blue jumpsuits. So it's like, right, that's how they got those. And yeah, really clever, this thing of, you know, well, do we need Daisy, or is there another way? I mean, obviously they're going to try to save her, but they don't need, you know, there's other ways to get inside, you know. And the thing with Rick, and yeah, he's, because it's Patrick Warburton, dude's like a sphinx, can't read him, you know. So yeah, she, like, touches him to tell, you know, he felt differently. That's nicely done. Well, I was getting through to him. Big fan. Is Phil MD gonna get to meet one of his idols without him or someone else having to knock them out in this entire time travel venture? I'm starting to think no. Outlook is bleak. But yeah, you know, they managed to plant all the explosives, and then, you know, what was it, 12 seconds left and called off. And then they're, you know, captured. So yeah, by the end of the episode, yeah, you know, Insight is gone, which also very nicely done. The thing of, I forget, I think they did mention that there was a satellite in the movie, you know, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, the movie, not the, yeah. But, you know, they didn't do anything about the satellite in that movie, and they didn't really need to, because once the helicarriers are down. But then on this show, it's like, well, I mean, they're not gonna, how are they going to be able to take down helicarriers? No. They're going to take down the satellite, you know, so very nicely done. I think, yeah, you know, so yeah, they resolved. It's like with episode 3, you know, they, by the end of the episode, they've resolved with the Chronocoms, at least seems to be the main goal of the Chronocoms in that time, but there's complications. There's something they're going to have to deal with in the episode after. Also very cool, good way to raise the stakes, that there's a time travel in the middle of the episode, you know. Yeah, I think so. Deke actually did shoot Freddy, which yeah. Um, I mean, I'm thinking that the photo, from that they look at right after is of Mac with his parents, maybe, or the parents in a cell, something like that. But it's possible it's something else. And I mean, since Deke only saw it afterwards, I guess there's very little chance that it's secretly just such an unflattering picture of Deke that he felt it deserved a bullet.